Hi, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about sequencing the three musical concepts of rhythm, balance, and phrasing. When are your students ready to turn that beautiful phrase? What happens if you're in the lesson and you hear something like this? Notes are right, rhythm's right, there's even some shaping in there, but boy, it's awful to listen to. Why? Because the rhythm is at the quarter note level. Did you catch my head nodding slightly by the quarter note? That is a tip off. We have what we see and also what we hear to help us out as teachers. So be sure you're always watching their fingers, but also watching their torso and their head. It'll give you an indication of what their thinking is. So I have my students take a week and exaggerate beat one because it gives a rhythmic reference point. It is a temporary practice measure. So if they do that and come back in, and then you get balance in place, which needs to have two dynamic levels difference between the melody and the accompaniment. You do the shaping with the melody, you keep the accompaniment bland and boring. Then you have and the Spindler Sonatina, slightly more difficult setting, but potentially the same problem. Rhythmic groupings at the quarter note. Put it in pulse. Get the balance together and you have the Clementi Sonatina. Is really no different. It's just a more sophisticated setting. Now, I definitely had some shaping in that, but boy, it was rocky getting there, wasn't it? If you have a rhythmic reference point of a measure, and then you internalize that, it happens naturally, trust me. You don't have to explain how that happens. You just ask them not to accent. Then they're ready with balance being put in place, which is easier said than done in this one because the added sophistication level is that you have two hands above middle C, and more balance is more difficult when several things happen, and that's one of them. So now we have a rhythmic reference point, dee, da, 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 bum, bum, dee. That's the measure. I'm feeling the measure. The underlying feeling is the measure, but I'm doing this with my shaping, you see. Then you have something ready to go. And I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're doing or rhythm is the foundation. It has to be there in place. Balance has to be there in place before you're ready to shape a beautiful phrase.